students, my name is Niyati Seth and thanks for watching Edupedia word videos. My topic for the presentation is the fourth section of the chapter Neural Control and Coordination. In this section of presentation, I'll be teaching you the nervous system of human body. As we know, the nervous system is a complex network of nerves and cells that carry messages to and from the brain and spinal cord to various parts of the body. The nervous system includes both CNS and PNS, that is central nervous system, and peripheral nervous system. Okay. The central nervous system is made up of brain and spinal cord. Okay, I'll be teaching you about the architecture of brain in my next section of the presentation, which is a part of central nervous system. Okay, but here in this presentation I'll be giving you the overview of the nervous system of the human body, which comprises of two nervous system, and that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is made up of brain and spinal cord, whereas peripheral nervous system, it is made up of somatic and autonomic nervous system. Okay, that means you can say that peripheral nervous system, it consists of two parts, that is somatic and autonomic nervous system. Okay, this is a chart that how our nervous system, or how the nervous system of the human body is divided into two major parts, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, so central nervous system, as I have told you, that it consists of two parts, that is your brain and spinal cord. Okay, and whereas peripheral nervous system, it consists of two parts, autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. Now this autonomic nervous system is again bifurcated into two, sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, whereas your central nervous system, as I have told you, that it is made up of two parts, brain and spinal cord. Now this brain is again divided into three, and they are forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain is again bifurcated into two parts, telencephalon and diencephalon. Telencephalon has four parts: cerebral cortex, basal ganglia, hippocampus, amygdala. Okay, whereas diencephalon has two parts, thalamus and hypothalamus. Okay, and midbrain consists of midbrain is also known as mesencephalon, and it has two parts, tectum and cerebellum. Okay, whereas hindbrain is again divided into two parts, and that is metencephalon and myelencephalon. Metencephalon has two parts, pons and cerebellum, whereas melencephalon, it has only one part, and that is medulla. I'll be teaching you about the architecture of brain in my next section of the presentation, but for the time being, just know that this is the structure, or this is how it has been differentiated. Okay, and these are the parts of forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Okay, central nervous system, it includes spinal cord and brain. The brain is the body's main control center. Okay, or you can say that it is a boss of your human body. The main function of the CNS is integration and processing of sensory information. Okay, that means it integrates the information and then it processes the sensory informations. Okay, your central nervous system, it synthesizes sensory output, that means what you feel. Okay, that it inputs. Okay, so it synthesizes your sensory input to compute an appropriate motor response or output. Motor response is also known as output. okay, and your input is your sensory input. Okay, see, this is your central nervous system and this is your peripheral nervous system. Okay, now the central nervous system can be broken down structurally as follows. As I have told you, spinal cord and brain, whereas brain has three parts: hindbrain, midbrain and forebrain. Okay, so spinal cord, it is the first structure of the central nervous system. Now the second structure is your brain, which consists of three parts: hindbrain, which has again three parts: medulla, which we call it as myelencephalon. Your hindbrain consists of pons. It is also known as metencephalon, and cerebellum. Now the second part of your brain is midbrain, which we call it as mesencephalon, and then first part of the brain is known as forebrain, okay, which consists of cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex has four parts: frontal lobe, temporal lobe, parietal lobe and occipital lobe. Okay, I'll be explaining you in detail in my next section of the presentation, but for the time being, just know that the central nervous system is broken down structurally as follows. Okay, and your forebrain has a subcortical structures also, which are basal ganglia and hippocampus and amygdala. Okay, and diencephalon, which consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. Okay, when I say brain stem, then please understand that brain stem refers to the midbrain and the portion of the hindbrain. Specifically, the brain stem comprises of midbrain, which we call it as mesencephalon, medulla, which we call it as myelencephalon, and pons, that is your metencephalon. Okay, now central nervous system is over. Now comes your peripheral nervous system. Okay, peripheral nervous system comprise of all the nerves of the body which are associated with your CNS, that is brain and spinal cord. Okay, and the nerve fibers of the PNS are of two types: afferent fibers and efferent fibers. Okay, now afferent nerve fibers, they transmit impulse from tissue to the CNS, and efferent fibers, they transmit regulatory impulses from CNS to concerned peripheral organ. This is the simple funda of the peripheral nervous system. Okay, see, these are the this is the peripheral nervous system. That means the nerve that extends from the spinal cord. Okay, this is your spinal cord, right? And these are the nerves that extended from your spinal cord, and that's why it is known as peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system, it includes a large number of nerves that are linked to the brain and the spinal cord. And it is comprised of sensory receptors, which process changes in internal and external stimuli and communicate that information to the CNS. When I say CNS, then please understand that I'm talking about brain as well as spinal cord. Okay, so your peripheral nervous system consists, or you can say that the nerve fibers of the PNS, they are of two types. First is afferent fiber and second is your efferent fiber. Afferent fiber, what they do? They transmit impulse from tissue to the CNS. And when I say CNS, that means spinal cord and your brain. And efferent fibers, they transmit regulatory impulses from CNS, that is your brain and spinal cord, to the concerned peripheral organ. Okay, now the PNS can be further subdivided into autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. That means your peripheral nervous system consists of two parts, and first is your autonomic nervous system and second is your somatic nervous system. Okay, now see, is the internal environment, okay, and this is your central nervous system. This is your external environment, okay. Now what happens is, in your internal environment will sense, so afferent neurons will transmit the information to the central nervous system, and now this central nervous system, it will regulate, or it will transmit regulatory impulses from CNS to the concerned organ, okay. So that is your motor neuron, and this system is known as autonomic nervous system, okay. Now this is your autonomic nervous system, okay. Now comes your sensory or somatic nervous system. In this, what happens is, external environment, sensory neurons, they transmit information to the central nervous system, and they respond via motor neurons. So then that is known as your sensory somatic nervous system. These two systems, that is autonomic nervous system and sensory somatic nervous system, they both comprise and forms your peripheral nervous system, okay. Or you can say that this somatic nervous system, it relays impulses from CNS to the skeletal muscles, while autonomic nervous system, which is this one, it transmits impulses from CNS in the involuntary organs and smooth muscles of the fiber. That means it this autonomic nervous system, it transmits impulses from the CNS to the involuntary organs and the smooth muscles of the body, okay. And this autonomic nervous system is again divided into two, and that is your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, okay. Now let's start seeing how it happens or how it takes place. These are the major components and the functions of the nervous system. This is your central nervous system, this is your brain, and this is your spinal cord, and this forms your central nervous system. So it consists of brain and spinal cord and is responsible for integrating, processing, and coordinating sensory data and motor commands, okay. And these are the muscles which extend from your spinal cord, that they are known as your peripheral nervous system, okay. It includes all the neural tissues outside the CNS. Let's start from here. These are the receptors, that are sensory structures that detect changes in the internal and external environment, okay. Then these somatic sensory receptors, they provide position, they provide touch, pressure, pain, and temperature sensations, okay. And then sensory division of the PNS brings information to the CNS. See, from here it is transferring information to the central nervous system from receptors in the peripheral tissues and organs. Now what happens? Information processing includes integration. That means all the information integration, distribution of information in the CNS will take place. Now the motor division of the PNS carries motor commands. That means this motor neuron will take the information from central nervous system, that you can say that it to the voluntary or the involuntary organs of the body to respond to the stimulus, okay. Now this motor division includes two types: somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Now in the somatic nervous system, which is this one, somatic nervous system, it controls skeletal muscle contraction. That means all the skeletal muscle contraction is regulated by somatic nervous system, which is the second part of the peripheral nervous system. Whereas your autonomic nervous system, it provides automatic regulation of smooth muscles, cardiac muscles, and your adipose tissues, okay. So these are your, you can say, effectors. That means who change the response to the neural commands, okay. I hope this chart is pretty clear to you. Now, as I said, that autonomic nervous system regulates involuntary actions such as internal organ function and blood vessel movement. It supplies nerves to cardiac and smooth muscle tissue. Okay. Your autonomic nervous system is again made up of two components. They work in opposition to one another. That means if one is stimulating the flow of saliva in the human body, then other will inhibit the flow of saliva in the body. Okay, that means they both work in opposition to one another, and they are responsible for the body's flight or fight response to danger, and parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the body back down. That means this sympathetic nervous system, it is responsible for fight and flight response to danger, whereas your parasympathetic nervous system, it calms the body back down. Okay, so this is your parasympathetic nervous system, and this is your sympathetic nervous system, which are two parts of your autonomic nervous system. If a parasympathetic nervous system, it stimulates the flow of saliva, whereas this sympathetic, it inhibits the flow of saliva. Parasympathetic, it slows the heartbeat, whereas sympathetic, it accelerates the heartbeat. Your parasympathetic, it constricts bronchi of human body through vagus vein, but it dilates the bronchi. That means they work in opposition to one another. If one is doing A, then other will do Z. This kind of thing. Okay. Now, what are the functions of the autonomic nervous system? Autonomic nervous system is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And they too have opposite effects on the same set of organs. That means if one is accelerating the flow of saliva, then other will definitely inhibit the flow of saliva. Okay. So the sympathetic nervous system is important during an emergency and is associated with fight or flight reaction. The energy is directed away from digestion. There is dilation of pupil, increased heart rate, increased perspiration and salivation, increased breathing, etc. The parasympathetic nervous system is associated with relaxed state. That means it calms the body, such as it contracts the pupil, energy is diverted for digestion of food, heart rate slows, etc. Okay, so this is the function of the autonomic nervous system, which is divided into two parts. That is your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. Now, somatic nervous system. We have well-studied autonomic nervous system, and which has two parts, sympathetic as well as parasympathetic. Now, the somatic nervous system. It is the second part of the peripheral nervous system. Okay. The somatic nervous system controls voluntary movements such as those in the skins, bones, joints and skeletal muscles. Okay, both of these systems within the peripheral nervous system, they work together with the CNS to regulate bodily functions and to provide reaction to external stimuli. See, this is our spinal cord. This is our somatic motor neuron, which is myelinated. Okay, and this is our effector, which is your skeletal muscle. Okay. So the somatic nervous system, it controls voluntary movements such as those in the skin, bones, joints and your skeletal muscles. So both of these systems within the peripheral nervous system, they work together with the CNS to regulate bodily functions and they provide reaction to the external stimuli. Now, this is the comparison of the somatic and the autonomic system. This is somatic nervous system and this is autonomic nervous system, which is made up of two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic division. So somatic nervous system is made up of central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and your effector organ. So the central nervous system is your brain and spinal cord okay. And peripheral nervous system is this one, an effector organ that responds to the stimuli. Okay. So this is how it takes place in the somatic nervous system, that it controls or regulates the skeletal muscles, whereas your autonomic nervous system, it controls involuntary actions or it regulates smooth muscles, cardiac muscles and glands. So this is the main comparison between somatic and autonomic nervous system, you can say. Okay. Now, this is your somatic motor neuron and this is your autonomic motor neuron. See, from spinal cord to the myelinated, this is the myelinated axon, okay, and this is acetylcholine. This is acetylcholine and this is your effector. Your effector here is skeletal muscle, because somatic motor neuron, it regulates your skeletal muscles, or you can say that only voluntary actions can be done with the help of your somatic nervous system. Okay. You can say that the somatic nervous system, it relays information or impulses from CNS to the effector neuron, effector muscle, that is your skeletal muscle here in this case. Okay. So the contraction of the skeletal muscle takes place because information is being transmitted from here to here. Now what happens in autonomic nervous neuron, motor neuron, is that in autonomic nervous system, what happens is it transmits impulses from CNS, that is your spinal cord and brain. It transmits impulse from CNS to the involuntary muscles and involuntary organs or muscles of the body. Okay. So this is how it takes place, that this is your spinal cord or your CNS and this is your autonomic motor neuron. Okay. And this is your autonomic ganglion. Okay, and through this, this is your preganglionic neuron and this is your postganglionic neuron. Please note that preganglionic neuron is myelinated in this case, whereas postganglionic neuron is unmyelinated in this case, and it transmits neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine and norepinephrine, and which do the contraction of the smooth or the cardiac muscle stimulation or inhibition of glandular secretion. That means the effector here are glands or involuntary muscles such as smooth muscles or cardiac muscle. So this is the differentiation between somatic motor neuron and autonomic motor neuron. Now what are the functions of nervous system? First, that it controls and coordinates the working of different organs in the body. It helps in thinking, it helps in reasoning, it helps in memorizing, and it keeps the animal constantly aware of the environment through sense organs. And which are sense organs? Your skin, your eyes, your ears. Okay, these are your sense organs. So it keeps the animal constantly aware of the environment through sense organs. Okay, and it controls involuntary activities such as heartbeat, your respiration, that means you're breathing in and out, that is your inspiration and exhalation, and your peristalsis, that how food swallows down your esophagus to the stomach. So your nervous system, it controls involuntary activities also such as heartbeat, respiration and peristalsis. Peristalsis, you can say that it is a contraction of the esophagus, that it helps in the swallowing of the food down the stomach. Okay, and last function of the nervous system is that it controls rapid communication between various tissues and organs. That means a nervous system plays a important role in the human body. Okay, now I hope this is clear to all of you. Now in my next section of the presentation we'll be studying about the architecture of brain, and that will be studying about the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Edupedia word videos.